Hello and welcome to Love from the Other Side. If you are on this video, perhaps you too are in need of hope. We bring you stories from around the world of people who have shared their near-death experiences. We know that you will not agree with everything that they share, but we do ask that all comments be kept respectful and kind. Today I bring you two different experiences, and I'm going to switch it up just a little bit. I normally direct you to the question and answer session by adding a link in the description of the video. In today's video, I will read some of the questions and answers from our first NDEer directly following her experience. Let's get started. I remember being thrown from the car and my head hit the divider. I was knocked unconscious. My first memory was looking down from the ceiling and seeing my parents crying. I thought I was awake. The next memory, I was in bed and I could see a light in the middle of the room. An Irish nurse came over to me and said, "Look at this pretty darling. I'm going to clean her up." Then the other nurse called to her saying, "There's nothing we can do for her, so take care of the others first." I said to myself, "Am I dead?" I was so scared. Then I found myself going up very fast through this dark tunnel. I was still scared, but I could see a very small light at the end of the tunnel. Then I was in this beautiful light. My girlfriend's sister, Kathleen, greeted me. She was wearing white and was all aglow. She told me not to be afraid. I asked her if I could speak with God. God came down, like on an elevator from a higher heaven, and sat down in front of me. God looked like Jesus in an all-white gown, and he was big, about 6 foot 5 inches tall. God asked if I wanted to stay or go back while he let me look down and see my mother and sisters, who were small at the time, in the kitchen. My father was drunk. I was in such peace and surrounded by such beauty. I did not want to come back. But I told God, "You see, Father, I have to go back." God then showed me my whole life. He showed me I would have 13 children, but 3 would not live. I would be married 3 times. The second marriage would be like going through hell with an abusive husband. The third man, he would change my whole life around and would be my reward later in life. He showed me the hell I would be living and before I came back to heaven. He told me my daughter would come back to heaven, which has happened. Then I was taken to a beautiful garden where there were flowers that were indescribable. I've never seen flowers like that before. The aroma, well, let's put it like this. I don't know how to put it into words. Angels came and I felt like I was flying with them. I looked up and saw this big church, and the next thing I know, I was sitting down and watching television. I was shown lots of disasters. I was so frightened. I saw fire and under-the-ground explosions in New York City. I did see peace after all that I was shown, but I was shown so much that I did not like. The problems that I saw were all over religion. At that time, I couldn't believe that there were people that would fight over God. Then I was taken into this forest and shown a cure for cancer. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get back to tell everybody. I felt so smart because I was not very smart in school. I believe it had to do with flowers and leaves. God told me I would not be able to talk about it because that memory would be taken from me until later on in life. God was telling me about my life. I was saying to myself, I would never do that, like being married 3 times and having 13 children. I remember God is very forgiving. We are all so loved. We must learn to forgive each other. The love I felt there was so overwhelming. I did not want to go back to this life on earth, but I knew I had to. I woke up with my girlfriend Eileen standing over me. I said to her, "Your sister Kathleen told me to tell you. She thanks you for taking care of her children." Then I fell back into a coma. When I woke up next, I didn't know why I was in the hospital until my father told me about the car accident. I looked down and saw my leg cut across my knee. A few days later, I was let out of the hospital. I then told my father what I had seen. He told me not to speak about this or doctors would put me in the nut house. From time to time, I would tell a little of what I saw, but people would look at me like I was nuts, so I just kept it to myself. Now for the question and answer portion of her experience. Did you feel separated from your body? Yes, I didn't see myself, I just knew I was there. At what time during the experience were you at your highest level of consciousness and alertness? I was alert. I was so alert. I couldn't see myself. I just knew I was there. I was real. Everything God said was true and has happened. Did your hearing differ in any way from the normal? The singing was the most beautiful church choir. No instruments, just beautiful voices. Did you see an unearthly light? Yes, at first, it was just at the end of the tunnel, but once I got to the other side, the light was so bright and intense, I was no longer afraid. No color, just bright like an H-bomb on TV or big explosion. Did you seem to enter some other unearthly world? A clearly mystical or unearthly realm. I saw the most amazing forest and flowers on the other side. The flowers were all over the place with no resemblance to flowers on earth. Although I can't describe the smell, it was gorgeous. The flowers glowed in different indescribable colors. I remember flying to church with big long steps to watch future events on a TV. The events were disastrous. I was also taken to a little forest with leaves and flowers. I felt so intelligent there that I could not wait to get back and tell everyone the cure for cancer. What emotions did you feel during the experience? Sadness and shame at the pulling of a girl's hair, an event remembered during the life review. Fantastic otherwise. Did you suddenly seem to understand everything? Everything about the universe. The most immediate answer was that I was shown a cure for cancer, but from my choices and my family background, I know that my place is helping my family. I came down to help my mother raise 6 children. Then I have 13 children, of which 10 are still with me. I have 20 grandchildren, and I know that I have more to do since I still have 5 children who have not had children yet. We are here on earth to learn lessons. The bad things that happen are not caused by God, but by ourselves. We are here to learn to love each other, help each other, give to each other, and love God. Did scenes from your past come back to you? My past flashed before me, out of my control. I felt so bad when I pulled a girl's hair when I was 8 or 9 years old. I remember feeling so guilty. I remember talking to myself and telling myself that I felt terrible. Nobody judged me but myself. Did scenes from the future come to you? Scenes from the world's future. I saw fire in the streets of New York and explosions. There were tornadoes in Queens, and I saw people running, getting into shelters. Did you come to a border or point of no return? I came to a barrier that I was not permitted to cross. I couldn't leave my mother and other siblings alone with my alcoholic father. I had to be there for them. What was your religion prior to your experience? Conservative fundamentalists brought up very religious, very Catholic. Did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Yes, many things were so beautiful. I know where my daughter went after she committed suicide. I don't have to worry about her. Was the experience difficult to express in words? Yes, it was hard to express the flowers, singing, and the light. Do you have any psychic, non-ordinary, or other special gifts after your experience that you did not have before the experience? Yes, I have a sense of knowing. Sometimes I get visions about people or events. Are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? The best was being in heaven. It was so beautiful, peaceful, and I had all the knowledge, and I was not alone since the angels were all around. I am not afraid of death, but I don't want to go yet. I still have things to do. The worst part was coming back and not being able to talk about my experience. Even if I felt comfortable to talk about the experience, parts of it are indescribable. Is there anything else you would like to add about your experience? I am now 61 years old, and although the memory has faded a bit, the main parts of the NDE are still clear to me. Also, I was very excited to see Raymond Moody on TV because I didn't realize that others had a similar experience like mine. Well, that is it for our first experience. I'm now going to share a second experience today in which a woman also learns of future children. This experience happened while she was having a seizure and asphyxiating on her own vomit. All of a sudden, I felt a pull and I was in a tunnel. The tunnel was dark gray on the perimeter where I could feel and hear people. I had the feeling I knew I was passing through everyone who ever was, is, and ever will be. It was loud. At the end of the tunnel was the brightest light. I was being pulled there quickly. It felt like I was falling. Once I arrived on the other side, I was in a field of green, tall grass, corn, and wheat. I saw my son 13 years before he was born. He had his arms out and was spinning in circles in the greenery. He looked directly at me and smiled. I didn't see my dead relatives. I saw someone who hadn't even been thought of. No one told me verbally he was my son. I just received that knowledge. He was 5 to 7 years old during my NDE. Now he is 3 years old and he looks more and more like the boy I saw in my NDE. I've tried to dismiss it for years as DMT being released from my brain or lack of oxygen, but the feeling you get on the other side is overpowering. Everything there is so beautiful, glowing, peaceful, and vibrant. It feels like you are home again. 6 years after my NDE, I was diagnosed with cancer. I was told I may not be able to have children. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, I suppose it was all a hallucination due to DMT or lack of oxygen. I am a classically trained research scientist, so I am a bit of a skeptic about things until they can be proven. 7 years after my battle with cancer, I got pregnant. I knew it was a boy. I found out it was a boy, and the skeptic in me said, well, it was a 50-50 chance. Then he was born, but newborns don't look much like they do when they are 5 to 7 years old. He is now 3 years old. He looks more and more like the boy I saw in my NDE. Now that he can communicate and understanding things better, I have begun to ask him, do you remember seeing Mommy in the grass? He says yes, but we are outside in grass here in life. As he gets older, I will ask him a few more times, but I do not want to influence him or press him. I just want to know if he remembers. I believe we see what we need to see on the other side. If we are religious, then we will see things that align with our religion. If we are close to our families, then we will see our families. If we need some inspiration or faith then or in the future, then we will receive that in a way that it helps us. I think the higher power knew that I was going to be going through a rough time, wanted to be a mom, and I would need this NDE to make it through some tough times. I think the higher power also knew I was a skeptic. This is why I saw my son at the age I did instead of as a baby. It's hard to tell what a child will look like when they're an infant. No photo can capture the true beauty of the other side. It was just so bright, but no sun. It was as if the light of the souls, plants, and everything just shined so bright. I hope this helps someone. It helped me to share it all again. Those are our 2 experiences for today. I hope that you enjoyed them. And as always, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us today. If you enjoy this type of content, I would like to personally invite you to be our newest subscriber on Love from the Other Side. Thank you again. Until next time, God bless.